Hey everybody, welcome to Trail Tidbits, a Volquest.com mini recruiting podcast. I'm Eric Kane alongside Matt Ray, who celebrated a 32nd birthday this week. Yeah,
Yep.
feeling 32. All right. So
Yep.
for his birthday, he gets to talk a lot about recruiting. And there's a number of prospects we're going to get into, so buckle up. First and foremost, let's start, Matt, with a couple commits Sunday afternoon. Tennessee loses to Oklahoma. The weekend sucked, but Tennessee did get 2 commits on Sunday afternoon.
Yep. So it started out with Princeton UAFO, kind of holding true to Princeton UAFO fashion, just waking up on Sunday morning and dropping his commitment. He has been a guy throughout the process. He's so massive. He's such a huge individual. Um, Always see him on visitor list or, hear about him being on campus. And it just took a long time to eventually see who Princeton UAFO was. Finally got eyes on him, got a chance to talk with him a few times in the past. And, he's been really high on Tennessee. We talked about this off the record before, Eric, but I mentioned it on Rocky Top Rewind. When guys start talking and referring to a team as we and us and the things we need to do moving forward to get better, like, it becomes pretty clear that there's a trend happening, and it's been that way for Princeton UAFO for a little bit. Felt like after the Arkansas game, I told Austin then, I said, we've got to keep an eye on Princeton UAFO.
No.
But, he just woke up and decided to announce his commitment first thing and didn't do anything spectacular with it. That's just how he wanted it to be. And, a big-time pickup for Tennessee, a guy that visited Ohio State this fall, I believe, Alabama. He's heard from a number of schools that have checked in on him. Raw, but a tremendous upside in him. And then Luca Wolf, another guy you can say the same thing about probably. Raw, but tremendous upside. California commit at tight end in the 2026 class, was here this weekend on an official visit. Got up Sunday morning before he left to go back to the NFL Academy in London. Went back over to the facility, spent his time finishing out meetings with the staff, and he let them know then that he was going to flip his commitment from Cal to Tennessee, and he's a guy that they're excited to pick up and add to this class at tight end.
So 2 commits, one for the class of 2026, of course, with that signing day coming up in just about a month, and the other, a really talented in-state offensive lineman to kickstart the offensive side of the football for the class of 2027. Let's get back to the class of 2026, and Tennessee's still looking to finish off this class. Again, spots are never the issue. How many will Tennessee add? We'll see. But one intriguing prospect on the edge, really nice-looking player who decommitted from Texas A&M over the weekend. He was on campus, or he's planning to be on campus here soon for an OV as well. You had that note earlier in the week. That is Jordan Carter.
Yeah, so Jordan Carter, we started to hear some buzz around him potentially making it to campus Friday. It started to trickle more into Saturday and seemed like it was becoming much more realistic. Tennessee has continued to recruit him despite a long-standing commitment to Texas A&M. He committed to Texas A&M last October, so it had been over a year that he had been committed to Texas A&M. He decided on Saturday morning that he was going to decommit from A&M, and he did that. He showed up on campus in Knoxville, and this is a recruitment now that Tennessee has become very, very real in. Georgia Tech, another team that has some initial buzz, but getting Carter to campus, I think there's some desire to still look at playing in the SEC. Georgia Tech's pulling on staying close to home. So for Jordan Carter, Tennessee really put their best foot forward this weekend. He'll be back the 15th for an official visit, that New Mexico State weekend. So Tennessee's going to look to try to keep building momentum and making him the priority that he is for this class. They've recruited him a very, very long time. They've hoped to get him to campus at different points in times, dating back to January, then into the spring, and then into the summer. It really never happened, but now it's kind of happening when it matters the most, and Tennessee's going to try to capitalize on that.
Let's stay on the defensive line, still in the class of 2026. J.J. Finch, an Alabama commit. Of course, Tennessee's right in this one as well.
Yeah, Tennessee's, J.J. Finch is a guy that's super quiet up out of Indiana, a guy that's just not talked a tremendous amount in his recruitment, but a guy that Tennessee has loved for some time. They love the twitch. They love the motor. They love the things that he can do, from an inside presence to an outside presence. He's really explosive off the football, as you can see here. But a guy that they were really deep in this in the summer when they had him here for an official visit. And he said then it was really tough for him to make it, or he said over the weekend, it was really tough for him to make a decision back then between Tennessee and Alabama. The only two schools that are in this right now, is what Finch told me on Saturday night. He will make a final decision at some point between Tennessee and Alabama. He'll go back to Alabama this weekend, and we'll see. This one, it might be tough for the Vols to pull off, but they've given him a lot to think about. A big deal for him is early opportunity, and Tennessee has shown him that you're going to get an early opportunity if you're here. I mean, Ethan Utley played on Saturday night. Tennessee has rotated freshmen into this lineup every year since Rodney Garner's been here, when they've had those guys that can get in there and play. And he likes the idea of being developed by Rodney Garner. Alabama's also selling him on opportunity. He's a priority for them too. This is going to be a very interesting battle to follow down the finish line, because J.J. Finch just doesn't put out a lot of information, but Tennessee very much in this one.
Yeah, and you saw on that huddle tape we just showed, I mean, just a complete animal from the inside.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody saw that. He dropped and got a pick at the goal line. One of the teams they were playing against running the triple option, and he just blown it up through the interior. J.J. Finch, a guy that Tennessee certainly is in on. 2026 running back pursuit continues, and a name that we've talked about several times. Is it real? Is it not real? Tennessee still hanging around, as Mark Packer would say on Rivalry Thursday, Tennessee's hanging around the chicken coop. That's Amari Latimer.
Yep, Tennessee's hanging around, man. We'll see where this one goes. Didn't expect Amari to talk coming out of the weekend. That's kind of been status quo for him and his camp dating back to the early stages of their recruitment. They've not done a ton of recruiting updates, interviews, even when they have taken visits. He's a guy that has just pretty much been about his business. It's been a grind for Tennessee to get him here, but they were able to do that. I think this is a visit that went well, and we'll see where things go from here. He's still committed to Wisconsin currently, Ohio State and Miami, the other two programs swinging. We'll kind of see where he ends up at with this thing, but I think Tennessee got him here. They shot their shot, and they're just going to keep pushing to the finish line as they try to finish out this 2026 class and add a running back commitment.
Micah Smith, another one here for this class, the last one we'll talk about for 2026 in terms of where Tennessee stands.
Another guy, didn't expect him to talk coming into this. He wasn't doing interviews even before official visits started, back up before he committed to UCLA over the summer. He opted not to talk as well, but from what I'm told, visit went well for Micah Smith. I think you've got to look at Tennessee as a contender in this. Ohio State also involved. He was there earlier in the month. I think Ole Miss is another school that is very much in play here. And then UCLA is obviously going to claw and try to hang on to him. They've still got a good portion of that staff in place, and they're not throwing in the towel by any means, but it feels like Micah Smith's probably trending another direction at this point in time. And Tennessee's recruited him. They've recruited him a long time. Glenn Ellerby did an in-home visit back when coaches were on the road doing that. Glenn Ellerby's been to Vero Beach to see him. He knows that he's a priority to Tennessee. I think he had a good time this weekend, and this is another one that we're going to hear about leading up to signing day. There's still work to be done there, but Tennessee very much in play.
All right, let's shift up to the class of 2027. A couple of big-time prospects that we're going to chat on here. Let's first start at linebacker, which, you can say about the linebacker play how it's been on the field this year, but, man, Tennessee's done a great job recruiting at the linebacker position the last couple of classes.
Yep.
Caden Henderson, a guy to look out for, 16th by Rivals, 24th according to the Rivals industry rankings.
Yeah, Caden Henderson, a guy that was up here in the summer. Tennessee got a good foothold in this recruitment at that point in time. That's allowed them to continue to recruit him pretty well. He's built a strong bond with William Inge. William Inge close with his dad, that close with that family. And we've seen William Inge win recruiting battles like that, right? I mean, just never went away for a guy like Jaden Perlotti. Last cycle, it was like, you kind of kept hearing some chatter with Perlotti committed to Georgia at one point, and then Perlotti committed to USC. I mean, that whole recruitment for Tennessee to get their foot in the door was William Inge working through the family. The family actually was in town for, I believe, little sister had a basketball tournament over in Pigeon Forge, and Inge just kept talking to the family. And Jaden was on spring break vacation with some family friends, and Inge got the family over. That opened the door for Tennessee to get in there, and he worked that all the way up till signing day. Caden Henderson has already built a really good relationship with William Inge, and on top of that, you add in the family dynamic that the family really likes him. Feels like a recruitment that Tennessee can certainly be involved in. It's tough to go into Florida and get these types of players, though, right? But the thing for Tennessee is going to be working relationships and showing him opportunity. Caden is very thought out in this process. He's already looking at a number of things, and I think Tennessee impressed him this weekend from the standpoint of how they approached his recruitment, the things that they told him, the things that they showed him. He went back over to campus on Sunday before he left back for Florida and got a chance to sit down with Josh Heupel, William Inge, Tim Banks. And a lot of the things that they've told him over the phone really line up. So he's continued to be impressed with Tennessee. And this is a recruitment that's still got a ways to go, but Tennessee is one of these contenders in it now.
All right, a couple things here. If you're watching on YouTube, is this Syracuse they're playing right here? I mean, that looks like Syracuse. Okay, but real talk here. It's a highlight tape for a reason, but good Lord, look at this first play. It's a kickoff team. Here it comes. I hope everybody's watching and not just listening. I mean,
Jeez.
What? Watch this second play, too. Again, kickoff team. The dude, it's like Tyree Weathersby coming out of high school. Boom. I mean, again, it's a highlight tape for a reason, but goodness gracious, man. You talk about
that
a guy
looked
that
like that looked like the old Madden ads where they were introducing hit stick and they were trying to show you how big of a thing that was, and it would just hit and fall straight down. And like, that's what that looked like.
That's incredible, man. Just incredible. All right, let's go to another one here. We'll stay on defense. We'll go to edge and David Jacobs, another guy that's nationally ranked inside the top 15.
Yeah. All you can say about this guy is he is a dude. I mean, that's pretty much all you can say about David Jacobs, man. There's not many guys that bend around the edge and do the things that he does so effectively. To me, he's going to always challenge for the top edge spot in this cycle. We talked about him on this program before, a guy that's got a really good relationship with Rodney Garner. And Coach Garner recruited his dad to Georgia out of high school, and he still talks to him. They look at Rodney almost like a uncle / grandpa figure. And the more David comes to Knoxville and learns about the program, he was pretty clear this weekend. Like, there's multiple reasons that Tennessee is in my recruitment. There's still a school that stands pretty tall. He's taken a lot of visits. Georgia, obviously being the legacy prospect from there, being in the state of Georgia, very much in play. I think Miami's a school that's in play, but Tennessee's a school that I think you've got to at least put as some form of a dark horse in this. I think there's some appeal to what they do with the edge position and that opportunity there, and knowing that Coach Garner's here. So I think Tennessee continues to put their best foot forward. It's probably going to be hard to beat Georgia at the end of the day, but we'll kind of see where it goes. I think he's very open in his recruitment and wants to take in as much information and make as much of an informed decision as possible.
Yeah, if David Jacobs is not the top edge in the class, maybe Anthony Sweeney is. Again, a top 25 prospect overall and another one of those priority targets of the edge position for the class of 27.
Yeah, Coach Chop got Anthony Sweeney to campus back in the summer, and he's built a really strong relationship with that family. To me, this one's a little bit of Tennessee, Michigan, Ohio State. We'll kind of see who else lingers around. But Tennessee has done an excellent job of recruiting Anthony Sweeney in the opportunities that they've had to get him to campus. Vol's very much in this one. Production at the edge spot is key, and Tennessee has had plenty of that in the last couple of cycles. And he's a guy that I would expect to keep visiting Knoxville and be here at some point in the summer for an official visit.
So, bye week for Tennessee, but obviously a ton of recruits that were on campus this past weekend. UNAP have done a really good job catching up with those guys, putting all that content up there at Volquest.com here on a Wednesday afternoon, Thursday, Friday. What else can we look forward to in terms of the recruiting front? Again, knowing Tennessee's not playing this weekend, but what do we have to look forward to in terms of some of the stories you guys have coming out?
Yeah, so you'll see the Tennessee staff out on the road this week with the bye week. Um, David, you got an update coming at some point, maybe sometime today on David Gabriel Georges. Talked with him earlier in the week. Obviously, that's the guy. Everybody wants to know what's going on with DGG. He started to be here enough that it's kind of now you're talking about what was different about this visit. What did you look at in terms of this? Tennessee did not run the ball well at all on Saturday night, but they threw the ball more to the running back out of the backfield. They got the running back involved on Saturday night more than they have in the last few games, and he was impressed with what he saw in terms of how they leaked them out of the backfield, the routes that they got them out on. He had extended family here this time around with him, aunts, uncle, cousin, mom, dad. They all had a really good time, and Tennessee's continuing to show very well in this recruitment. We'll see if he ends up taking another visit somewhere else. To me, I think it might be this weekend if he did. We'll see. Baylor's on a bye in the playoffs there, and then they go right back to work. I think a lot of his focus is going to shift toward trying to win a state championship and getting that for Baylor. But if this was the last visit of the fall for him, then Tennessee continued to show very well. And this is a heavyweight recruitment. This is a recruitment that you're going to see, I think, every team in the country that's very serious about the running back position want to be involved in. We've said it before, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, those programs are going to be the ones that are involved in this recruitment. And this is one that's going to be fun to follow in the coming weeks and months.
Should be a good one. Looking forward to seeing more notes, more stories up at volquest.com, and, of course, every day on the General's Quarters. Matt, Trail Tidbits, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, bud.